what's going on in the world today that we should be discussing? What problems can we solve?
Solve, I don't know if we can solve any problems, but we can sure as hell, start a conversation on things that, definitely need to be talked about. I mean, it's one thing when you got the talking heads on TV just going batshit crazy over one subject, and you get one side of every story, and, the rest of us are left scratching our heads going, what the hell?
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know what? Since this is the flagship episode, why don't we quickly just kind of describe ourselves to our audience so they know who we are?
Okay.
More or less, Why don't you go first if you'd like? Or you want me to go first? Doesn't matter.
Oh, well, do you want to have like an actual intro, like that me and you do, or?
I guess, yeah. Here, like this. Let's say, okay. So my name is Kaz. I was a medic in the Army for 6 years. I became a nurse while still in the Army. When I got out, I've been working as a nurse in the civilian sector. Got a bachelor's degree in business and healthcare administration. I have 4 children and a wife, and I would not consider myself a conservative necessarily. I think that I guess you would say it's more of a mix for me. I don't really fall into either category perfectly at all. How about you?
Okay, well, hey, everybody. My name is Uzi. I have a wife and 1 child. I do not have a bachelor's degree. I'm about a semester away from it. And I plan on going back some point and finishing that up. I was an infantry in the Army. I served with Kaz. Got out, and I'm now a letter carrier for the USPS in Denver. My thoughts are pretty fluid on most things. Fiscally, I'm more conservative. Socially, I'm definitely more liberal. I mean, you can call me a conservatarian or a libertarian, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's really hard to pin me down. There's things that I'm very unwavering on, and there's things that, as I said, I'm very fluid on, too. I could change my mind at any moment. It just not so much depends on how I feel, but depends on what facts are presented to me and how I see it. So, but yeah, that's me. Like Gaz, it's hard to pin it down.
Yeah, this false dichotomy that we've been forced to swallow, this Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, it's bullshit. It's not reflective of how things really should be at all, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely, I mean, not even just Republican, Democrat. I mean, liberal, conservative, right, left. Like there's so much in the middle. I think the vast majority of Americans, whether they believe it or not, are actually in the middle. I mean, they may be more right on some issues, more left on others, but overall, they all kind of congregate right in the middle. I think you see that in every election too. I mean, during the primaries, yeah, both parties, their candidates are up there, pandering to their bases, so they're going to go as far to whatever side they have to go to get the vote. And as soon as the general comes around, they all move right back into the center because they know that's where the majority is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in your philosophy, your personal philosophy, do you think that these political issues that we were always debating as a society, do you think that there is a single specific correct answer to these questions, or do you think that these things are just, subjective or maybe changing?
I mean, no, there's no one right answer. There never is. I mean, it's a scary world's not the right place. It's a changing world, and I mean, you got to be fluid with your decisions too. You can make a decision that's good for right now, but 10 years from now, that decision could be absolute crap, and you're going to be lambasted for it. I mean, we see that with all our presidents. People look back on Bush and Clinton and Reagan, and, oh, that's crap. Well, at the time it worked, so, I mean, it was good then. It might not be good now. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why I'm so fluid with a lot of things. Like I said, there's a few things I'm rock solid on, mainly constitutional issues, but outside of that, I'm pretty fluid. So,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, the narrative that gets pushed, I mean, regardless of what news you watch, Fox News, Sky News, BBC, whatever, I mean, they all have their narrative they're trying to push, and I don't know, anymore we're just bombarded with it.
Yeah, I agree with you on especially the constitutional thing. We both, and probably a lot of our listeners, at least at first, They're all going to be people that took that oath that we all took when we joined up, to defend the Constitution. And I think that it's a beautiful document. It really is. I think that even its flaws have its own beauty in the fact that they wrote in ways to correct them at the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I listen to other podcasts for sure, and, I hear other guys sitting there talking about how it's an antiquated piece of shit, and that is verbatim what one podcast host said.
Oh, yeah.
I could.
We dropping names? I'll
drop his name. It was Joe Rogan, and I love the Joe Rogan podcast.
Really? You said that?
Yeah, he was mainly referring to the Second Amendment. And, I mean, his argument, people are dying, and I get that. But this is, I guess, what I'm talking about with the media bombarding people with stuff. I mean, even if you talk about, like, Trump's speech the other night, and you hear the media, oh, he's a fearmonger and this and that, and even President Obama comes out and like, oh, violent crime is down, and, he's just fear-mongering. To which I have to ask Obama, well, if violent crime and all this stuff is down, why are you pushing so hard for gun control?
Yeah, I saw that on your Facebook today. I was like,
yeah,
that's a good point.
I mean, if you've painted yourself into a corner by coming out with this. And I mean, to the Joe Rogans of the world and everything, like, I know what he's saying. He's not strictly saying that the Constitution's a piece of shit, although he basically said, we could go away with representative government. Well, here's why you can't do that. I mean, me and you have gone rounds on this with, like, democracy and stuff like that. I mean, I like the idea of democracy, but here's why it doesn't work. The majority is always changing its mind, and the majority itself is always changing. So, what's hate speech today might be perfectly acceptable tomorrow, and the people who, were all championing what was hate speech are now on the ass end of that saying, well, why was what we saying is hate speech?
I mean, in my opinion, I think to try to deter hate speech, that should be something that's purely social. I mean, if you're going to come out here and, drop the N-bomb and talk a bunch of shit about different races and everything, then you should be socially ostracized.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, but I don't think that you should be prosecuted because the freedom of speech, and I'm one of those people that you should be able to say whatever the fuck you want, and I don't care what it is. If you wanted to say you wanted to skull fuck the president right now, you should be able to say that, in my opinion.
That's pretty intense, but I totally agree. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I look at it like,
I mean, to his face, even. Well, you should be able to say that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's the problem I have with, like, the social justice warriors and everything. It's like, free speech does not, somebody said something like, oh, free speech ends where hate speech begins. Well, no, they're not exclusive. You can't have one without the other. No. I mean, the only way to counter hate speech is more speech. You have to have more speech and more free speech. And, I mean, I don't agree with the KKK. I don't agree with Black Lives Matter, but damn it, I'll defend the right to go out and speak. I'll happily defend the right to go out and speak. I'm not going to try to silence them. I'm not going to shut them down. I think the KKK, actually bringing that up, it's a good example of what happens with that. So people tried so hard to shut them down. They're not gone, but nobody knows where they are. They've just gone underground. That's scarier than having them out in the open. That's far scarier than having that out in the open. I'd rather them be on the podium, downtown, wherever they are, saying whatever the hell they want to say, getting protested, and then going away. They're less likely to lash out and do something stupid. I mean, and you can keep tabs on them. You can see where they're at. I'd much rather have enemies where I can see them. Yeah,
definitely. That's perfect. Yeah, you want to know which ones of your neighbors hate you, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's just easier that way. So, but yeah, I mean, and going back to the whole Joe Rogan thing and him talking about how it's antiquated and the representative republic it's just old and outdated, I firmly disagree with him. I mean, like I said, he's saying everybody's got smartphones. Yeah, okay, man, sure, we could have just one guy in charge. Now we have a monarchy, so basically kind of running things. And if you put the hands in the people who make these things, I'm not sure if you got me up on the video there, you put the power in those hands to kind of, well...
It's a cell phone for the audio listeners.
Oh, yeah, good call, sorry. So, yeah, you put the power in the hands of the people who make the computers, people who program the cell phones and whatnot, and they're the ones in charge of running these polls. How do you stop them from rigging it? This is why the direct democracy, especially in today's day and age, would be so hard. I'll take the representative government any day of the week, as imperfect as it is. And it is imperfect, very imperfect. But I'll take it as it is. I would like to see term limits put on it, for sure. I mean, some of these dudes, like, you're supposed to be a public servant, and anymore they start acting like we're supposed to serve them. I think our government's definitely headed in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the best fix that I can think of for that is just to give the people more power to rein in on those representatives. You know, what is the term? Referendum and finish my sentence for me, man. Come
on. Just the checks and balances. I think it's talking about just making sure like they can be held accountable. I mean, I guess the other problem with the whole dichotomy that it is a false dichotomy, but anymore we've proven it to not be false. I mean, you look at how many libertarians are in Congress, how many American constitutionalists, Green parties, they don't get elected anywhere. And does money play a role in it? Sure. But people still go out and vote. And it's mainly, I mean, I'm not trying to trash a bunch of people here, but it's a whole lot of low information voters. The only reason we have the two-party system is because of low information voters.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, Gary Johnson. How long ago did you find out about him?
Oh, God, I knew about him last election, 2012.
So I had never heard of him until recently, very recently.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't make a whole lot of noise. Ron Paul was pretty much still in the spotlight in 2012 and in 2008. And then, Gary Johnson, he saw his chance, I think. And, I mean, sad as it is, like, he could, he probably could have run on a Republican ticket. No, he couldn't have, because Rand Paul got destroyed, too. And I liked Rand Paul. I liked Rand Paul a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't agree with him on everything. That militarily, I think me and him differ. Outside of that, I mean, me and him were pretty much eye to eye on everything.
Now, I'm not familiar with his positions when it comes to military use of force.
So Rand Paul is something of an isolationist. I mean, he's not completely just let everybody do what they want and we're sticking here home. But he does support a decrease in the military presence overseas. He does support, letting other people fight their battles out for him. And, I mean, I'm okay with that to an extent. I think one of our listeners, the first person to like our page outside of me and you, he asked me a while ago, about Russia and the Crimea in Georgia. And I answered him, I was like, if our president, like, you can let it go to a certain extent. You can let it go, but you got to treat it like kind of like a barroom fight. Russia's kind of your friend, kind of not, but you let him beat up on the guy for a minute, but if it starts getting out of hand, you got to step in. You have to step in, and you have to come to the other guy's aid. You can't just let him get annihilated. I mean, I guess that's kind of the way I see it. Rand Paul, on the other hand, would literally have let Georgia or even the Ukraine you lose.
Yeah, see, my opinions on this kind of thing, they're not static. They always change.
Yeah.
It just depends.
Yeah, I mean, it really does depend. I mean, if the Ukraine had launched a nuke into Russia, I'd probably turn a blind eye. I'm like, yeah, well, you're probably going to eat this one.
I mean, but in all honesty, what other country do we really trust to have nukes other than us? Because we've had nukes for how many decades now? And we only used them really, I mean, one time. I mean, we dropped it on 2 different cities, but still, we only really used it one time, right?
Yeah, I mean, in 1945, we dropped the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and since then, I mean, they have been an excellent deterrent, even though, what was it? I want to say 61, 60, for the life of me, I cannot remember when the Cuban Missile Crisis is.
Somebody put it in the comments.
Yeah, right. Feel free to throw it at us, and just so you guys can make fun of me, I am a history major. So, yeah, so go ahead and make fun of me all you want. I mean, I'm not great with dates, and it's been a minute since I've been in school, but that's no excuse. Anyway, I mean, yeah, we've used them as a deterrent, and it's come close, and it hasn't always been the president or the leaders of the countries that have made that call. It was the commander of the Russian submarine and the commander of the U.S. fleet down there that basically said, no, we can't fire on them. Like, they're just not getting our message. They're not trying to break through. They're just not getting our message. And eventually, cooler heads prevailed. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, would I support a disarmament of nukes? No. No, because I don't trust any other country to actually follow through.
No.
So you got to have them as a deterrent. I mean, you can take some down, but you got to have some. You got to make sure we have enough to blow up the Earth at least one time.
See, my line of thinking is, it doesn't take much, just some stolen materials and a genius that does not like America to build a dirty bomb and set it off in one of these cities of ours and kill millions of us in one fell swoop. And I feel like we need to put the fear of God in some motherfuckers around here. You know what I'm saying?
That is exactly, man. I'm with you on that one. I'm all for that. I think it's not about so much being feared throughout the world. I don't think as a country we're respected anymore. I mean,
no, that's at all.
I mean, people fear us, sure. Like, yeah, we do have the most badass military in the world. China's got the numbers, we got the technology. I mean, if we ever went to war with China, it would never hit the ground. We could just bomb the living hell out of them and call it a day. It'd probably go nuclear, but nobody respects what we've done for the world anymore. I mean, and yeah, I'm going to sound totally elitist, and I'm totally fine with that because I'm not an apologist for America. If it wasn't for us, everybody be speaking German right now or Japanese, and who knows what would have happened between those two countries. I mean, if we didn't get involved in World War II, like, sorry, you're not speaking your native language anymore. You're speaking German. You're speaking Japanese, and that's it. So, yeah, I don't apologize for American exceptionalism. I think we're the greatest country in the world. I think we shouldn't demand respect, but we have to learn how to command respect anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just, I feel like at this point, nobody's really going to believe that we are actually going to nuke anybody anymore.
Yeah, I think everybody's pretty much got it down that it's not going to happen. I mean, if Iran were to get nukes, I have no doubts they would use them.
Just like, they say, if you pull a gun, you better be ready to use it. And just having the nukes is pulling the gun.
Yeah, and and that's, like you said, be prepared to use it. We built that bomb with the intention of using it, and damn it, we used it. So
I feel bad for the people that, had nothing to do with it. I really do. But it was either them or us.
See, I don't... yes and no on that one. I mean, for weeks before the bombings, we dropped pamphlets saying, get out of Dodge. We're dropping a giant bomb on you. And the Japanese government tried to collect as many of them as they could, try to keep, no, they don't have it. They're not going to do it. They're bluffing. And then we did it. Then they tried to assassinate their emperor because he was ready to surrender after the first one. And that failed. And they called our bluff again. You don't have another one, so we dropped one on Nagasaki. Now, had they called our bluff a third time, okay, they would have been right. But I don't think they were prepared to test the waters again. But yeah, I mean, weeks before we did it, like, we were dropping pamphlets. So while I always feel bad for children, always feel bad for children. But adults, I mean, if they didn't take the warning seriously, I have a hard time feeling bad for them. I mean, part of me says, okay, it's just, maybe they were thinking it's just American propaganda, but at the same time, like, especially the second bomb, I don't feel bad for them at all. They saw what we did with the first one, and we kept dropping pamphlets saying leave. So if they didn't leave, like, I can't really feel that bad for them. I mean, it sounds horrible on the surface, I know, but, I mean, we already proved we were going to do it. So please leave.
War is horrible. War is always going to be horrible. And if you don't want to have the horror of war, then let's stop fucking making war. I don't want to war with anybody. I don't want to. I'm sure. I mean, that's the thing. These people in the Middle East, right? Does it ever occur to them to just fuck this dying for this bullshit? These young guys in their 20s and teenagers, they're going to come here, or they're going to try to shoot at American troops over there, and they're going to fucking get killed, for nothing. Why? You're not going to win. You're not going to beat us. It's just not going to happen. So just fucking live.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Well, and that's me and you've gone about this, a while ago. You were talking about how you can't beat an idea with a bullet. The problem with the Middle East, though, it's no longer just an idea. It's a belief. I mean, you're not fighting an idea is easy. You just present another idea, and you can debate, like me and you have in the past, and okay, whatever, either we agree or we agree to disagree. But with them, it's so ingrained that they believe that they're getting to heaven if they die for the cause. They're willing to. It's like, well, how do you beat that? And
atheism.
Yeah.
Atheism, my friend. Atheism.
I like to leave myself some options. I'm agnostic. Just in case.
Well, that's the funny thing about agnosticism is just admitting that you don't know.
Yes. That's why I said
and
the options.
99% of all atheists are agnostic atheists.
Yes.
I mean, there are very few people with the, what is the term I want to say? I don't want to be too nasty. There's very few people that are willing to put themselves out there as being somebody that thinks they know everything, you know? And if you come out here saying, I am a Gnostic atheist, I know for a fact there is no such thing as a God, then you're just making a jackass out of yourself. There's no way that you can know anything for sure. You can't even prove that you exist.
Yeah, right.
You can't even prove that you exist, so how are you going to prove that God doesn't exist? Also, you can't prove a negative. I can't prove that there's no such thing as unicorns or fucking leprechauns. I can't prove it.
Well, I don't know, man. The leprechauns and the Irish, they're kind of shifty, so. You never know what's going on with them. Oh, I'm sorry. For our listeners, if we haven't told you, we're going about this in a total non-PC, non-professional manner. Like, welcome to the club. You might hear some racial jokes. You might hear some sexually oriented jokes. Who knows?
And here's the thing that you guys have to understand. I'm speaking to the civilian listeners, if we ever get any of those.
Right.
When you're a soldier, right, when you're in the military and you are surrounded by guys from all walks of life and all different kinds of backgrounds, right, we don't have time to be getting all butthurt about every little thing that anybody says. And we form these brotherhoods, you know, we are family, you know, so we can say whatever we want to each other, and it's in love.
Oh, yeah, totally, man. And it's all in fun. I mean, most of the time it's in fun. Don't worry. I mean, you and I saw some feuds, maybe right after we got back from deployment.
Those were mostly over Jodies, right?
You know, I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. A certain soldier got choked out and had...
Oh, yeah. I remember very clearly.
I don't remember what that was about. I just remember taking him to the hospital. He got, stitches or something.
This is when we were downrange, right? Like, we were on COP... No, it wasn't a cop. We were on the FOB, right?
No. This is when we got back, and we just moved into the crack houses up the hill from the other crack houses.
Oh, I'm thinking about something else. When we were downrange, there was a new soldier that came to one of our platoons who was bragging about fucking one of our wives.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. And I think the dude that knocked him out is also the guy that choked out the other guy.
Yeah.
The other one was a drunken experience, but no, yeah.
We don't need to be tagging nobody in no comment section, guys. Any of you guys that remember these incidents, don't be tagging nobody. Let's just leave it at that.
There's a reason we're not name dropping here. These guys know. So.
Let's get ugly. Real ugly.
But yeah, people understand that. And I know my wife, if she were here to hear me say this right now, when I say I don't see color, it's not that I couldn't see that, you know, my saw gunner was black. Obviously I could see that. I'm not stupid. But I didn't see it in the fact that when I looked at him, it was just my soldier. It wasn't, he's my black soldier, he's my white soldier, that's my soldier. I didn't care.
Yeah, we were all green.
Yeah, we all wore green. We're all human beings. You cut the skin off, it's all blood and guts underneath and muscle anyway. So, yeah, you guys are going to hear some shit, and just take it for what it is. Take it off the surface. Like, we're not going to be ragging on each other for anything. It's all going to be in good fun, and we're going to have some laughs, and hopefully you guys laugh too. So.
Unless we're, like, really boring. Shit.
Okay, so that was one hell of an intro we just did, and an introduction of ourselves.
Oh, that was the intro? I thought we were done. Shit.
Well, I know we had planned some topics for tonight. I think we were going to talk about BLM.
Black Lives Matter. Oh, okay, let's do it.
And the Second Amendment afterwards. I thought that's what we had on the docket for this evening.
Okay.
So Black Lives Matter. I'll let you start it off on that one.
Okay, so if I guess more exposition on us. I am half black and half Italian. That is my heritage. I also have some German and Native American in me. I basically identify with the Italian and the black parts of me mostly. But really, I consider my race, I call it cappuccino. I don't let myself be limited like that. You know, I don't want it. I don't want to be. You're born as you are born. You don't earn that. You know, you don't work for it. You don't work to be black. You don't work to be white. You are who you are because of your genetics and your parents, and it's something that's given to you. You know, it's like one time my daughter, she was struggling with spelling tests. She was struggling so hard, right? And just it was so difficult. It was such a hard time for us. And finally, one day, after working so hard, she finally brought home an A on that spelling test. And I swear to you, I threw her such a huge party. And it was much bigger than any birthday party I've ever thrown her, because she earned that A. You don't earn your birthday. You just breathe and you'll get one, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's how I feel about race. You didn't earn your race. You didn't earn your heritage. You didn't earn any of it. There are people in your lineage that died to make cultures great or ungreat, as it may be, but it's not something that you personally got, you know? So that's how I feel about race. I just don't care that I'm half black, and I don't care that I'm half white. I don't care that my ancestors enslaved my other ancestors. I just don't give a fuck. It's who I am now and who we're going to be.
Right. Although, to be fair, you called yourself cappuccino. I think your Italian side would refer to you as a moolie.
You're Irish, right?
No, I'm Italian. Half Italian.
You're Italian? Oh, that's right. Uzi.
Half Italian and half, I don't know, throw a dartboard at Europe. Or throw a dart at Europe, and you'll hit something to send me. I think they call that a Heinz 57, so.
Hell yeah. So when it comes to Black Lives Matter, I have no problem with the phrase Black Lives Matter, the hashtag itself. Before all of this movement shit got attached to it, I was fine with it. But the behavior of people within that movement to date has given me a sour taste in my mouth.
Okay.
Altogether. That's how I feel about it. And I don't have a problem with people saying all lives matter if they're coming from a point where they just want to make the point that we don't need to. Cause there's this one YouTuber that I like to listen to. His name is, he goes by the Armored Skeptic. I think it was him. Or maybe it was Logic. I don't know. But they pointed out that if you want to be a protected class, then you can't have equality.
Very true. Very, very true. Yeah.
And I want equality.
No, I'm with you on that, I guess. My biggest issue with Black Lives Matter, the phrase itself, okay, fine. I take a little issue with it, and my issue is that it's self-segregation.
Yes.
Like hyphenations, this, I'm African-American, I'm Irish-American. Just be an American. Let's start there. Like, you don't need to identify, everybody's so eager to identify with something. It's like, you don't have to. Just identify as an American. We can see that you're black, so obviously we know your ancestry is somewhere in Africa. I mean, if you really want to get out of it, all our ancestry goes to Africa. But, yeah, I mean, people are so in a hurry.
Yeah, where did this idea to self-segregate come from? When people like Martin Luther King died so that we could be judged by the content of our character instead.
Right.
They died for that, and now we're trying to judge each other.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, that's my issue with it. It's such a self-segregation. The premise behind it, hey, we're being mowed down here. To me, I mean, just looking at statistics, I sent you some earlier, and like I said, I'm stupid. I totally sent you the wrong ones. I sent you the ones for 2012. I meant to send you the ones for 2014. Irrelevant for right now, but so it just blows my mind. I mean, we want equality, we want equality, we want equality. Well, then be equal. Treat yourself as equal. Don't try to separate yourself. That's why I hate applications. I'm not a big fan of affirmative action policies. Why do we even have to put my race down on the piece of paper? This is my. I mean, this is who.
There are certain places in America where that's definitely needed.
Oh yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying racism doesn't exist. Anybody that says it doesn't exist is a damn fool. Like, it most certainly exists. And the people that engage in racist acts and things like that, judging people because of the color of their skin, like, just go start a 12 gauge. Please, help us all out. But, I mean, by and large, yeah, by and large, I don't think it's as bad. I mean, and full disclosure, I grew up in a super white area. I think I knew 2 black kids growing up my whole life. We had a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Asians in my area. But outside of that, it was pretty whitewashed. But, I mean, going to the Army, it wasn't even really a culture shock for me because I was raised to just not care about such things. Like I was never beaten over the head with race, 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 race. It just I never learned to hate or love. I just learned to be and exist with everybody. So yeah, it's the self-segregation. I totally went off on a tangent. I apologize.
No, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
If we don't go off on tangents, these are going to be very short episodes. What are we shooting for here, by the way? Like an hour and a half, maybe?
Yeah, hour and a half sounds good, give or take.
Yeah, let's try that.
We'll see what we come up with. Maybe as we get sponsors, we'll be able to time it up in like segments and stuff or whatnot.
Sponsors.
Oh, yeah. They're coming. I feel it.
I hope so. I am trying to do this for a living. That's what I want to do.
Dude, I'm stoked out. I have an extra room that we're not using. I'll just set it up as a studio. It'd be great.
Fuck yeah.
But, yeah, so, and I guess the way they go about their spokespeople kind of bother me too, and how the media jumps on it. If you look at the statistics, I think it was 2015, I think the Washington Post came out with it, and I'm totally ballparking the numbers now because I don't have it right in front of me, and I forgot to pull that one up. I want to say it was like 480 white people were killed by cops to 281 black people. And that's by the Washington Post. Like I said, ballparking those numbers, it's somewhere in there. If you just take those statistics, the Black Lives Matter narrative of cops are killing black people, it gets shot down. Now, granted, then you look at the percentages, and I think it's African Americans make up 13% of the population versus, like, I want to say white people make up 60% of the population, something like that. Okay, yeah, it's a little out of whack. They're a little overrepresented. But then you look at crime statistics, and I have just murder. Murder and where is it?
What I would like to say on that is that every community has its issues.
Oh, yeah.
That it just, we all do. We all have our problems, and because for so long we have been separate, these issues are a little bit, specific to our different cultures and backgrounds and heritages and whatnot. When it comes to crime, I think that there are some things that we could do as a society that would just knock those numbers down significantly. Now the murder one, you're going to look that up or whatever, but one thing I'd like to see is especially marijuana legalized completely.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's people. I live in Colorado. It's legal here, 21 and up. I mean, you can get it recreational. 18 and up, you can get it medically. Other than people drive slow as hell now, that's about it, man. I'm not seeing any big spikes in crime. Okay, so I got the murder one up here. In 2014, there were a total of 3,021. Wow, really, FBI? That's it? Oh, single victim, single offender. Okay, 3,021 murders. White people. 2,488 of those murders of white people were perpetrated by white people. Now, and like I said, white people make up, 60% of the population, roughly? Here's the next number. 13% of the population, 2,451 murders. Of those 2,451 murders, 2,205 were committed by black people. Black on black. So when they say that they're overrepresented by police killings, well, aren't they vastly overrepresented in just amount of murders and then black on black murders? To me, it seems more like a selective outrage. They want to point to something. Look, the police are treating us bad, but they're ignoring what's in their own backyard in these inner cities: Chicago, D.C., Baltimore, New Orleans, Detroit. I mean, you got to look in your own backyard. You can't just point a finger without looking behind you and saying, "Oh, look at the mess I got." That's my problem with Black Lives Matter. I don't see them out, and maybe they are. I just don't see them. It's not covered by the news like these police shootings are, and then these rallies are.
The black community has other issues besides cops killing them. We have a huge number of single mothers, which I think is the biggest problem.
That's number one, man.
Single motherhood, I think, is the killer of society. And it's not because mothers are incapable. It's because children are raised by one parent. And just because, historically, the children go to the mother. But if it was the other way around, it'd still be a problem. If it was all single fathers, it would still be a problem, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to have that mother-father duo when it comes to raising children. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm not saying there's not great people that have come from single parent homes, but overwhelmingly studies show a single parent home is bad for children.
It just is. It's just a fact. I mean, in any event, there's still something that is missing. Some daddy issue or some mommy issue that's going to manifest and affect the future of that child.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. And unfortunately, in African American communities, they are more likely to have single moms. I'm not sure why that is. I mean, I don't even care to take a stab as to why that is. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know what's going on there. And I mean, not to mention, I mean, as a single mom, man, it's hard to get out of the cycle of poverty too. I'm not saying all black people are in poverty, but in those inner cities that I mentioned, you know, like the south side of Chicago and D.C., Baltimore, those areas. I mean, there are some impoverished areas there, and man, it is hard to get out of that.
Yeah, straight up.
And especially as a single mom. And I mean, I guess to me, it's incumbent upon the dads, or even the single dads, and at which point it's incumbent upon the single moms to say, or the, what's the word I'm looking for? Estranged, whatever the estranged parent is, be a mom or a dad.
Yeah, I think that's the word.
Yeah,
I mean, I was raised by a single black woman. Now, me and my I am the oldest of 4 siblings. 4 of us raised by a single black woman on welfare. And, you know, it's funny because my father is white, you know, and when I was born, they were middle class, maybe even upper middle class. He was an engineer. He made good money. And we lived in the suburbs all of my young childhood up until they got divorced in 1995 when we go to live with our grandmother in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, which was still a nice area, but it wasn't ours, and we didn't stay there very long. You know, and then we ended up living on Kinsman in Cleveland, Ohio. And, you know, just worse and worse and worse. And then we ended up in Cracker, Ohio, which is a horrible fucking place, man. I'll tell you what, man. You want to get some crack, you go to Cracker, Ohio.
Cracker? Shit, you meet LeBron?
Oh, my God. So let me just, on a side. When I first moved to Akron, I was, I want to say it was my 10th grade year. It was my 10th grade year. And I swear to God, LeBron James had just started getting big and, you know, getting his notoriety, and every motherfucker in Akron swore up and down that they were LeBron James' cousin. I was the only person in the whole city that was not related to LeBron James. I swear.
Oh, I mean, shit, Kaz, you know you're not even dark-skinned enough to lie about it. But, no, yeah, I mean, that's kind of funny, man. I'm related to him 3 times.
Everybody. It's like, no, you're not. Stop telling me this. Every day I meet a different LeBron James cousin. Like, y'all motherfuckers.
You're coming up with your hands out. Now you know he's going to get paid. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, man, no, and I feel for you, man. And like I said, but it's got to be tough, dude, coming out of that cycle. I mean, obviously you made it. So let me ask you, was your dad, like, still a part of your lives even after they divorced?
Oh, man.
Well, you don't have to answer it if it's touchy.
Oh, no. It's not touchy. Nothing's touchy. He came around. I mean, there are certain aspects of that I don't really want to get into, though, just because I don't want to put my mom and my dad's business out there too much. But just basically that he would come in and out of our lives mostly, and I'm pretty close with him now. You know, now that we're adults, and you know, I know what it's like to live with a woman. You know, to be honest with you, it gives you a different perspective. When you're a kid, you think, oh, my evil dad fucking just left us and blah blah blah. But then you grow up and you deal with women, and then you realize like it's not so easy.
No, I'm with
you know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Well, I guess the only reason I ask is, like I was saying, you know, I think it's incumbent upon whoever the estranged parent is to, you know, take responsibility for what, you know, not just your life, but if there's a child, that's your responsibility too. Even if you can't, you know, live with the other parent, if you can't be together, that's fine. Learn how to co-parent. You have to, for the sake of the kids. I mean, I guess it. And
that's another thing, though. The laws that we have on the books when it comes to divorce and the separation of children is absolutely fucking ridiculous. It makes me so angry the way that men are treated by the family courts in this country.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
that's a different episode altogether, I think. But
yeah, we can cover that in a little bit. No, yeah, I'm with you, man. It's definitely it definitely heavily favors the mother for sure, regardless of whatever situation they may be in. It is heavily favored to them.
yeah, and don't get me wrong, my mother is a fucking saint, dude. She sacrificed so much just to try to put a smile on our faces every fucking day. I remember this not one time, she did it more than once. She would get on a bicycle and ride for miles to try to bring us McDonald's at school just so we could feel like we're special. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of a saint she is.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. But that reinforces what everything she was trying to teach you, that you are somebody, you mean something to somebody. And she reinforced that to you. So even being a single mom, and this is what I would put on the single moms and the single dads out there, yeah, you know, even in the poor neighborhoods, like, there's things you can do to reinforce that your kid is somebody, that they mean something to somebody. They don't need to join a gang. They don't need to turn to drugs. Like, there's plenty of things you can do to reinforce that. It may be something as simple as just sitting down and drawing a picture with them, like, once in a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I
don't know what the answers are to these questions. I mean, this is a issue that goes just, it's beyond race and it's beyond class or anything. It's just,
oh yeah,
the family is it's like the cell of the human body. That's the analogy of a family to the nation.
Yeah, to our society, a family, you know, you start destroying the cells and the nation will fall. I mean, that's truth right there, man. There's no better way to put it. That's a good analogy.
Which is why I don't understand why there's so many people against gay marriage when we already know for a fact that heterosexuals suck at marriage.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess humans, just in general, suck at monogamy.
Yeah, so might as well just give them a chance.
Yeah, I guess, and that's my problem with, like, the uber Christian right. Like, you know, if you don't want them to get married in your churches, I'm okay with that. That's fine. But why would you stop the government from issuing the marriage license? That's not your place. You stick to your church. Let the government stick to their thing. And the government should be blind. They don't care. You want to come in, you're consenting adults? Who cares? You can get married. Great. You want to be miserable like the rest of us? Have fun. I'm joking about the miserable thing if my wife's listening.
I'm fucked up now, homie. You done fucked up now.
Right. But, I mean, times where you just want to stick a toothbrush up their nose until it breaks into their brain. You don't do it because you know that the next day is going to be better.
Yeah, the next day you're going to want to buy her a fucking mansion, you know?
Yeah, even if you don't have the money.
Yeah. Just don't try if you don't have the money.
Yeah, but I want to, and the attention is good, so. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm with you, man. It's the family unit is definitely central, and unfortunately, I do think it is one of the things that plagues the black community, African American community, whatever you want to call it, the inner city community, because like you said, it really is blind. It doesn't know race, creed. It doesn't know.
It knows poor. I'll tell you that. It knows poor.
It does know poor. It heavily knows poor. It doesn't affect rich too, yes, but not to the extent. Not even close.
Because, I mean, money can't buy happiness, but it can sure stave off a lot of unhappiness.
It certainly can. That's true, yeah. I mean, well, I don't know. Guns make me happy, and it could buy guns.
Shit, man. I think guns are too expensive in this country, in my opinion.
Dude, they are expensive.
Why do I have to pay $500 for the gun I want? Fuck that, man. I should be able to buy it for like $100.
Yeah, we'll be getting into that here in a few minutes. But yeah.
I mean, so basically what I want to say about Black Lives Matter is just that if all you really want is just to draw attention to the fact that you're worried about young black men being killed in America, that's fine. But when you take it to the level of, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it now?
Dead cops! And I made the comparison. It blew somebody's mind when I said Black Lives Matter is kind of like the KKK. And somebody,
it is.
And somebody's like, "What? How dare you?" I was like, "Hold on now. You're talking about 130 years body of work versus a 2-year body of work. I was like, let's see how they started. Like the KKK, they started just terrorizing, going around doing their stupid little thing, and eventually it progressed into lynchings and killings. Well, Black Lives Matter, and KKK started on a false narrative that the black man is lesser than us, whatever to them. But Black Lives Matter started with a false narrative too. The hands up, don't shoot, Michael Brown, Ferguson. I mean, it was proven by the FBI. Well, I guess that doesn't mean much considering what just happened with Hillary, but that's a whole other nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to think about that.
Yeah. But still, it was proven that I'm not saying the cops always have to shoot somebody, but in the Michael Brown case, yeah, it was justified. So the hands up, don't shoot narrative, it was a false narrative. So they started the hands up, don't shoot, Black Lives Matter. When they came out that, oh shit, the facts don't support our narrative, well then they had to find something else to support that narrative. And they kept looking and looking and looking. And that's the problem. And not the problem with the cell phones, but anytime something has happened and somebody happened to be there with a phone, it goes right to CNN, MSNBC, Fox, whoever, and it's just bombarded with you. Like, oh, a cop killed a black man, a cop killed a black man. So while statistics may not show that, they're just out being murdered in droves here, the perception is that they are.
See, here's my issue with it. When you write an article for a news segment or a newspaper or a blog or whatever, right, you're trying to get people to read it so that you can make money. And you want to provoke emotion in everyone, right? So what is the first word of every single article in which a cop kills a man who happens to be black?
White cop?
The first word is black or white.
Yeah, it's always race. It's something to do with race. Has to be.
Because that's what they want you to focus on, in my opinion. They want you to think. So if you're white and you're reading the article, you're thinking, oh, just a black guy. He's not one of us, so I don't really care that much. And if you're black, you're thinking, oh my fucking God, they just killed another one of my brothers. You know what I'm saying? So,
But on that point, if it's a white guy that's killed by police, you don't even see it show up.
No, you don't, because who's it going to provoke?
Exactly.
You need the emotion to make them the money.
Well, and I'm not trying to draw a distinction between black people and white people here. But when a white person's killed, almost everybody in the country goes, probably deserved it.
But if a 12-year-old, whether they be black, white, male, female, human or fucking Vulcan, whatever.
Yeah, but the anger has to be directed appropriately. Are we talking about Tamir Rice?
Yeah, we're talking about Tamir Rice, because that case pisses me off, and it's not because he's black. It's because of everything else about it.
Yeah, there's so much that goes into that case.
But because they made it about being black.
They made it about being
black. Now
black,
you've got an excuse to ignore it.
But there's more. There's so much more than everything else. It's, his gun wasn't real. But the video showed they had a good idea that it wasn't real before they showed up. Because there's a 911 call that you can hear clearly. The guy said, it's probably fake. And is that for sure it's not fake? No. But it's enough to say, maybe let's not just shoot him. No. And I hear you there. But I guess I look at it like this. When we were in Iraq, if somebody had told us that there was, if we'd seen a little kid wielding an AK-47, do you take the chance on it not being fake if he points it at you?
Well, you know what? Actually, I remember very vividly. There was this one time I was pulling air guard out the hatch of the Striker, and there was this kid in his front yard, and he had a toy AK-47, and I had my M4 trained on him, and I was ready to shoot him, but just at the very last second, I noticed that orange little tip on it, and I just didn't shoot.
But that's the key. You noticed the orange tip. Tamir Rice didn't have it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
So,
but I'd like to think that because he's an American, Tamir Rice, maybe he deserves a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt.
No, and I agree with that. That's the only comparison I make is we ask cops to do so much that when they come to that situation, it's compared to other areas around. I can't remember where exactly it was. Oh God, I know it was a high.
But also, the mission is different though. The mission in Iraq was to win a war.
Oh no. I hear you. I understand that the objective is.
The mission of the cops is to serve and protect.
I understand that. I guess I look at it as like, I'm not saying they should have shot him, but I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, and it's like, the Jesse Williams, like, pulling a drive-by and going home to make a sandwich. Dude, he has no clue. It's easy to sit up on your pedestal and judge those cops. I bet they felt like pure shit.
I hope so.
I absolutely bet they realized what they did. I know that they did it. I mean, like, there's no way they just said, oh, whatever, I'm going to go make a sandwich. It didn't happen that way, man. But at the same time, we're asking them to make these split decisions. I didn't watch all the video. I know he was pointing at other guys in the park. I know they called on him. And even the guy said it's probably a fake. That guy didn't know either. So that left the possibility for it being real. And as a cop going into that area, a high-crime area, you have to assume, well, it might be real. So I'm not blaming Tim Rice.
No, but be honest though. Like, how would you have handled that situation had you been there?
I don't know. I can honestly say I don't know.
But you do. You've been in similar situations. You do kind of know.
I have a good idea. But I say I don't know because every situation is different. And I've never actually been. I mean, I'm not a police officer. I can honestly say I don't know. I would have tried, I guess, diplomacy first. Talk to him.
I mean, it wouldn't have been so difficult to just set up a fucking a perimeter.
Oh,
get on a bullhorn.
Yeah, no, yeah, you can't.
And talk to him.
To get out,
they rolled up on him. It was a drive-by, man. It was straight up drive-by.
Yeah, but to get out and start shooting is wrong for sure. But I'm not trying to defend him.
And they didn't get any charges, right? Those cops?
Don't believe so.
No charges. No, I don't even think they got suspended with pay or some bullshit like that. Like,
well, anytime there's a shooting, a cop will be suspended with pay unless it's like absolutely obvious they just executed somebody.
I mean, the way I look at it is, while racism may not be the issue that Black Lives Matter purports it to be, it is something that we need to be aware of and think about when it comes to our police. And that, to me, is just not necessarily just racism, but just the fact that they have power. That's what worries me. The police have this power they have the power, if they want, to go into your house right now, kill your whole family, and walk away scot-free. They probably won't do it. There's a very, very, very small chance that they ever would do anything like that. But they have the power to do it, and that's what worries me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to me, it's another thing, I think I said it earlier, is that we ask the police to do so much. We ask them to do traffic stops. We ask them to do this. We ask them to do that. It's like, can we just clearly define the role of the police instead of saying, hey, we want you to just monitor everything, because cops can't be everywhere, which this is a great segue into our Second Amendment portion.
Yeah, that's the thing. What is the Second Amendment for, if not to give the people the power to take care of their own shit? Exactly.
I mean, cops can't be everywhere. Like, yeah, do we need to ask them to investigate crimes? Absolutely. Investigate the crimes. You're more of a neutral party. You know, if something happened to me, it ain't right that I'm investigating it. Obviously, I'm going to put the evidence in my favor towards whatever I want to do. Like, you find a neutral party. They come in and do it. They investigate a crime, murders and such. But the police, I think the Supreme Court decision, what was it, 2012, 2005, basically said, and it arose out of my state, the cops do not have an obligation to protect you. It is your obligation to protect yourself. So, asking them to be, well, like if you call 911 for whatever reason, they don't have to come. Like, they don't have to. There might be something more important that they're doing. So, and that's what people don't understand. And so many people call 911 over stupid shit, too. Like, I mean, if your husband's beating you the fuck up, by all means, call 911. Get somebody there. Scream for your neighbor. Look out for your neighbor. If you hear somebody screaming, kick in the goddamn door and go handle some business. But I think we do ask the police to do so much that they're so overburdened. I mean, some are underpaid. Some are pretty well paid. I'm not going to lie. I know some pretty well-paid cops. But we got to really clearly define those roles so that...
I mean, but you shouldn't be a cop if you care about the money.
No. Well, when I say well-paid, like you've been on the force for like 30 years, and you're probably making some pretty decent money at that point. But you're also probably have a lot of responsibility, too.
But like I said, that's what the Second Amendment is for. Let's go and put a 12-gauge shotgun in the hands of every single family in every single ghetto, and let's see how long those gangs last.
Oh, yeah, I'm all for it. Well, that's the other thing I was talking about, too. I mean, when it comes to the hoods of America, white hood, black hood, I don't care, whatever hood, quit letting the damn criminals run that thing. I mean, you can say, "Oh, I'm not a narc." Well, are you better?
Then shoot him yourself.
Yeah, are you better? Yeah, exactly. Are you better off for not narking this dude out? If you know this dude's just slinging dope and screwing your whole shit up, and you got cops in your neighborhood all the time, and you're scared that your kid has to sleep on the damn floor to avoid bullets and shit, why don't you do something about it? Or are you afraid to lay down your life for your children? Because I'm not. If it came down to me or my son, take me all day.
You see, and that's another thing about the drug war. Why I'm so against any drugs being illegal. Because, I mean, look what happened with alcohol back in the 20s. I mean, alcohol. People were murdering the fuck out of each other for fucking booze. Why? Are you serious?
Epic.
Because we made it illegal.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more that they could focus on. And well, not, you know, you take away a lot of things, and obviously laws aren't retroactive. Yeah, legalize things. And if the government was smart, legalize it. You know, you can get the pharmaceutical companies, they want to freaking start making cocaine and heroin and all this crap. Like, have at it, man. Get it controlled. You really want to control it, control the substances. Don't just call it a controlled substance. Actually control the substance. You can tax it, you can make your money on it, and if somebody's going to go do some stupid shit with it, like, I think Colorado's been pretty good. I'm not sure what all the statistics in Washington are when they legalize marijuana. Our crime hasn't gone up. In fact, it's gone down. Like, I can't imagine, you know, there's no reason for somebody who just took a little bump of cocaine at a bar one night. Oh, you're high on coke. You're going to prison for 20 years. What? No.
Yeah, I mean, this country was built on the cultivation of a leafy plant called tobacco.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? There's no reason that the next era of prosperity can't be based on the cultivation of another plant.
Well, and it would solve so many other issues, man. You're talking about the drug cartels and everything in South America and Mexico funneling drugs up here. Well, if we're selling drugs legally, what the hell are they going to do? Their business is gone. Sorry, guys. Now, the flip side of that coin is then they start growing it here. That's actually kind of one of the bad things they've done with the marijuana legalization. A lot of the guys that, in like Nogales and the border towns there in Mexico, they come up here, and this is where they grow their marijuana. And they take it back down to Mexico. But at the
My tables have turned.
Yeah, right. But at the same time, like, that's actually improving our commerce. They're buying our gas. They're spending money in our stores. Like, okay, cool.
And see, I think that's what isn't that what the cornerstone of conservative politics is? To limit government and let the people do their own fucking thing and be responsible for themselves. I mean,
well,
this is an industry that is so harmless. It's so harmless if you just keep the government out of it.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Conservative, yes. I mean, what you have now, no. I'm not sure what the hell these guys' principles are. And full disclosure, I'm a registered Republican. After this election season, probably not. Can't quite get on board the Trump train here. I think I'm going to miss that one. I'll just hang out at the station for a while. Yeah, I mean, I'm I'm a real free market guy. Kind of let things go, let them be. Let the police investigate serious crimes. Let the police deal with violent crimes. If they're just dealing with violent crimes, I mean, you know, even speeding on the highway, unless you're doing 120 and you're actually causing an accident, let them go. Who cares? And if the only person they end up hurting when they roll their damn car taking the turn too fast is themselves, they earned it. That's called Darwinism.
Definitely.
Give them a Darwin Award. Let's move on with life.
I think we've allowed a lot of weakness to pollute our gene pools.
Oh yeah, for sure. The sick and the weak are the majority anymore.
It's pretty horrible.
Yeah.
I feel horrible just saying that. That's pretty fucked up.
We're going to hell if there is one. That's all right. I hear it's a party down there. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, with Black Lives Matter, I mean, there's so much good they actually could do. I wish they would direct it in that direction. I wish they would, you know, anytime that the gang violence or whatever, you know, just the shootings, and I know everybody likes to point to Chicago, but not just Chicago, Baltimore, D.C., L.A., wherever, you know, anytime it happens, I want to see them come out in full force and just start screaming, enough is enough, stop with the killing. And I'd see them going after, like, the actual murderers. Because let's face it, you know, you got, what? Let's say, I don't know, out of 1 million cops that you could find in this country, you're going to find what, maybe 100, 150 that are actually truly racist and just want to go do bad shit?
No, I don't know about that. I mean,
it might be higher.
Here's what I think of it. Like, there are approximately 19,000 municipalities in this country. There are 3,000 counties in this country. So let's just say around 12,000 police departments, something like that. Okay? If only one racist cop is in each of those, only one, that means there are around 12,000 racist cops right now terrorizing motherfuckers, working 40 hours a week, 20-year fucking retirement plan. Who knows how many people are being affected by that?
Oh, no, I'm with you there. And the same goes for the police departments. If you know that person's there, handle them. Like, just get on them and say, hey, you're fucking ruining it for everybody else. Knock that shit off. Or you're
Blue Falcon, dude.
Yeah, go to jail. They are the Blue Falcon. You're not narking them out, man. They've already buddy fucked you. They buddy fucked you, and the results show up in Dallas. The results show up in Baton Rouge. These couple dudes that are out there doing stupid shit, handle them.
Exactly. Like if we had a basic training, you got a bunk inspection, and fucking the weekend pass is on the line, and some motherfucker decided to leave his goddamn wall locker unlocked. What the fuck's going to happen to him? He's going to get the shit kicked out of him. I mean, if you got some cop in your department who is terrorizing black people or any other race, fucking handle that shit. Get him out of there. Don't narc him out. Fucking kill him if you want to. I don't give a damn. I mean, take responsibility for your department. Have some pride in what they're standing up for you. They're standing up. They stand for you. They represent you to the public.
Right. Yeah. No. Exactly. Take responsibility for your own, and that goes with any community. I mean, police community. I'm sure the fire community probably has some shitbags they could probably clean up. I'm sure the EMT community has some shitbags they could probably clean up. I know we've had a number of scandals here at Rose Medical Center. There's some nurses in the nurse community that need to get cleaned up. I mean, it's not blind. There's shitbags in every community. White, black, brown, yellow, it doesn't matter. There are shitbags everywhere in every individual community, be it just your street, your little neighborhood, your county, your city, whatever. We all got to come together and start cleaning house and just saying, hey, this is bullshit. We're not going to let it stand anymore.
Content of character. That's all it really is about.
Yep.
Content fucking character. I don't know what the fuck that was.
And the other thing that I think really needs to happen too, speaking of communities that need to be held accountable, media. We got to start telling these guys, quit sensationalizing shit. We got to quit buying into it. As a country, we have to quit buying into this bullshit, the sensationalized media. Okay,
so fucking there's a storm going on right now, and knocked over my damn umbrella.
Yeah, I don't have an umbrella anymore because of that.
Where were we?
No, I understand. We got to hold the media accountable too. I mean, unfortunately, the media is not going to hold themselves accountable. I mean, there was a time in this country where they were considered like the unofficial fourth branch of government, and they were there to hold all the others accountable. Well, now they're all in collusion together. So somebody's got to hold these, quote, journalists, unquote, accountable for their bullshit, accountable for perpetuating some of this shit. I mean, when the Out in Sterling thing came out, Philando Castile, anything comes out, wait for some facts, please. Besides just saying, hey, we know we can enrage some people by saying a black man was killed by a police officer tonight. Without any other facts, even though there's a video, you don't really know all the facts. Please just wait. And if they come out with some bullshit story that the video clearly contradicts, then go after them. But if they're not willing to do that, if we're not willing to wait for facts, even Black Lives Matter, if they're not willing to wait for the facts, I can't take them seriously. I mean, and if the facts, like I said, if they come out and it's, it turns into James Comey defending Hillary Clinton, okay, be outraged. Absolutely be outraged. But if that's not the case, then that's not the case. I just want people to wait for facts. And, the media's got to be held accountable for their part in all this, too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are a few of these cases, several, I'd say probably, just to throw a number out, 50%, that I am truly enraged by, that I'm just like, these cops are assholes. And then there are 50% of them like, that motherfucker had it coming.
Yeah, the Philando Castile one, I mean, on the surface, looks really, really bad. Really bad policing. The dude down in Florida, Kinsey, well, just a few days ago, really bad. really, really bad. And even the video, there's a part of the video you know, it's cut out. You don't see what happened when he got shot, but all signs point to really shitty policing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's really almost no two ways around that. And that's, you know, that could change. Maybe something does come out where he had a reason. I really don't think it's going to, but it could change. But yeah, I mean, police got to be held accountable, and they got to start. Everybody's got to start in their own backyard, their own communities. Police have to start policing themselves as far as getting their shitbirds out. You know, each individual neighborhood, street, block, whatever, school, get your shitbirds out of there because they're screwing you over. They're ruining it for everybody else. So, but yeah, that's
all it is.
That's my take on BLM, and I mean, I think there's good things they could do. They just got to change their direction and their message, and you know, wait a little bit. You know, once something happens, kind of wait for some facts to come out before you mobilize, or you really need to protest every single time a black person gets killed, regardless of who killed them.
And I think that's the perfect segue into a discussion of the Second Amendment.
Sure.
Because let's just assume for a moment that everything that Black Lives Matter has said is completely correct when it comes to the police. Let's assume that the police are really oppressing black people the way that they say that they are, right? Mm-hmm. That's what the Second Amendment is for.
To defend yourself from the police.
From the tyranny of the government, and the government is enforced by the police and the military.
Exactly. Claim that all these guys, and basically, so how it's, you know, it's not meant for, it was never designed for hunting. It was never designed for, you know, to live off the land. It was designed to keep a tyrannical government in check, or to keep our government from becoming a tyrannical government. So, and we kind of tied Black Lives Matter into it. And say, okay, if you're going to sit here and claim that all these guys, you know, the cops are just out here to kill you, why are you going to turn around and vote for the people that want to take your ability to defend yourself from the cops away from you?
Exactly.
And I mean, you know, we talked about at the beginning of the show here. It's, and I think you hit on it, you know, how it's, they put in the methods of changing the Constitution. I guess here's my problem with the government as it currently is. Here's my problem with the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court is interpreting the Constitution to fit a law, they're doing it wrong. It's supposed to be the other way around. The Constitution is very clear. And the more context you add to it, the more clear it becomes. With the Second Amendment, you know, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I'm not sure where they forgot that or what they're trying to interpret here. I mean, it's very clear. Like, this is what they intended. And if you don't like it, if you want to change it, then go through the process, also laid out in the Constitution, to change it. Don't just try to go through the courts and pass stupid laws. I mean, I'm all for background checks and stuff like that. I think I'm definitely more reasonable than some of my friends when it comes to the types of firearms.
I think you're more reasonable than me. I think I might be to the right of you on that.
No, not necessarily.
I don't want background checks. I just want everybody to have a gun.
It's not that I want background checks. I'd really like to just walk over to Cabela's, grab a gun off the shelf, and say, yeah, I want this one. Go home. I'd be okay with that. But I'll concede the background checks. Like, I'm not so unreasonable that, nope, absolutely not. Everybody can have one. Part of me understands, like, I really don't want violent criminals having guns. But at the same time, we're not going to stop it. No amount of laws are going to stop them from buying them illegally.
No, there's really no way to stop them. The only way to stop a violent person with a gun is another person with a gun, whether that be a cop or a citizen. It doesn't really matter to me.
Yes and no. I mean, we got to be honest with that one. Good guy with a gun will not always stop the bad guy with the gun.
No, sometimes he'll get killed.
Yeah,
but...
okay. But as long as we're being honest with that one, then... I mean,
but there's always going to be another good guy to come around and shoot him later.
Yeah, your odds of survival definitely increase. I mean, with the whole Katie Couric and her phony ass freaking, oh, it's fair and balanced gun debate. No, it's not. You totally deceptively edited, not any other words around it. She deceptively edited her video to show, like, make some gun owners look dumb as shit, and then you get the dude from the Aurora Theater shooting here, who's like, oh, if you would have had your gun, would you have do you think you could have stopped it? And he's like, no. And I guess when I hear him say no, it wouldn't have made a difference if he had his gun on him. I'm like, what, are you so woefully inept at wielding your firearm that you just shouldn't have one? Like, if I'm in a theater, am I saying I'm going to stop it? No, but does it increase my odds? Yeah, it does. It gives me a fighting chance. And if I die, I'm dying in a blaze of glory, damn it.
I'm fairly certain that I could have done some damage to that motherfucker. You know?
Well, and that's the other thing. I mean, dude, don't get me wrong. Some of the stupidest gun control shit I've ever seen has come out of Denver. So right after the Aurora Theater shooting, you had Congresswoman Diana DeGette, and she's out there trying to explain the 30-round magazine ban because she believes that 30-round magazines are ammunition, and once you shoot them, you won't have them anymore. I've seen the video on this probably 100 times, dude, and the bailiff behind her, the look on his face as she's describing this to somebody is just, I want a pistol with you right now, lady. Like, that's what he wanted to do. I could see it in his eyes.
Her argument is that you shouldn't have 30 bullets because you'll shoot them and then you won't have bullets anymore?
No, that's why they're banning the sale of 30-round magazines, because once they've all been, they asked them, like, the efficacy of it, like, how do you stop people? And they're like, well, once you shot them all, they're ammunition. You won't have them anymore. Like, she's never heard of reloading.
Oh, okay. So basically what she's trying to say is that if we limit how many the capacity of the magazines, then the perpetrators will run out of bullets quicker.
No. She literally thinks that the magazine is the bullet. Like, it's all one unit, and the bullets come preloaded in the magazine. And once you shoot it, that magazine's useless forever after that.
Banning these magazine clips. I will tell you, these are ammunition. They're bullets. So the people who have those now, they're going to shoot them. And so if you ban them in the future, the number of these high capacity magazines is going to decrease dramatically over time because the bullets will have been shot and there won't be any more available.
Sheriff Smith, you'd like to respond? Absolutely. First,
that's what she thinks.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so she thinks that once you've shot all the 30-round magazines, then they won't have any more. So, and I guess here's always been my argument there. So James Holmes went to the Aurora Theater with, I think he had an AR-15. I don't remember what the hell he had. Who cares? Type of gun is irrelevant. He went in with a damn gun and a 100-round drum. Goes in there. He killed 13 people, roughly. I think he injured about 20 more with a 100-round drum. He reloaded. So they're sitting there saying, well, you can't have 30-round magazines. You can't have this. Major Hassan at Fort Hood used a pistol and killed 12. What's the difference? Well-aimed.
Wasn't there some guy who walked around with a knife and sliced a whole bunch of people up?
Yeah. Well, I guess to me the difference is well-aimed shots. Even the shooter down in Orlando, that douchebag down there, he went into that club. And I mean, from all witness accounts, because everybody, I guess that's the other problem. We've watched too many damn movies in this country. If somebody comes in with a gun, what's the first instinct of everybody else? Hit the ground. Congratulations, you're dead. You've like, I'm not trying to make fun of them here, but at the same time, like, we have trained our populace to be so complicit. Like, it's like, and you got to read the shooter's intentions or the guy with the gun. If he comes in and he just says, "Everybody get on the ground, I have a gun," and he hasn't shot nobody, feel free to comply. He's probably not going to shoot you unless you cause him to. If the dude just comes in and starts blasting, you got to charge him. You got, as many of you can. You have to charge him. You have to realize some of you are going to get shot anyways. Give yourselves a chance. But, yeah, I mean, everybody's on the ground. He's taking well-aimed shots. That's why the body count was so high. The type of rifle he used or gun is completely irrelevant. If you're going to lay down and be a sitting duck for the guy, sorry, that's why the body count's high. At least in Aurora, they all ran out of the theater. And the dude just went in there spraying and praying. You and I saw it firsthand, man. Those stupid dummies out there with their full auto AKs spraying and praying. Couldn't hit shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd much rather have, if I'm going to go against the bad guy, spray and pray, dude. All day, I'll take one shot. We'll end this real quick. So, yeah, I think some of these stupid bans, like the magazine capacity, give them a bigger capacity. Let them spray and pray. If you take away a person's bullets, the odds are they're going to take better aim shots. Your body counts will rise. I think Major Hassan proved that. So
I can dig that. Yeah. I'm just of the opinion that the body count would be next to nothing if every motherfucker in that place had a fucking pistol on them.
Well, I think it will deter a lot of crime for sure. Absolutely, it's a great deterrent. I mean,
Yeah, just everybody should treat everybody like they have a gun.
well, yeah, an armed society is a polite society.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I mean, it's cliche as fuck, but it's true. Like, you know, you hear all these road rage incidents, dude. God, there was one by my house. It was a few years ago, but dude it was just a road rage. The dude cut somebody off. Guy pulls up next to him and fucking shoots him. It's like, wait, well,
Cut them off in traffic.
it's like, what the
now you're dead.
for, man? So now when I'm driving, I think it was First Sergeant Allison gave me the best driving advice I've ever gotten. Drive like you're the only motherfucker on the road that knows what's going on. Absolutely. I just stay in my lane. I do my thing. If I'm going to change lanes, I make sure there ain't nobody around. So, but yeah, and because it's not that I'm afraid of people who have guns. I mean, my guns are typically with me. How many? What calibers? I don't know. Most people will never know. Hopefully.
And they don't need to know.
Exactly.
I can't stand these motherfuckers walking around with a goddamn AK-47 on. It's not literally AK-47. It looks like, you know, these big ass guns on their fucking shoulder strap in fucking McDonald's. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's just making shit worse. Like the first rule of open carry: don't make shit worse. I don't have my concealed license, and Colorado's an open carry state. Now, if I'm going to open carry, like it's just on my hip, I don't mess with it. I don't touch it. It's just a pistol. Like, I have no reason to take my rifle out unless I'm going to go freaking shooting at a range or something. But yeah, dude, I see these dudes, and I just shake my head. It's like, well, what are you proving? Other than you're a moron.
I mean, if I'm a mass shooter and I'm walking into a place, I know the first person who I'm going to shoot is it's going to be you with the fucking AR-15 in your fucking hands like you're a fucking Tommy gun fucking wielder.
Oh, yeah, dude. Those dudes, God, they just... And like I said, all they do is make shit. Like, I'm not sure what their goal is. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Like, if you want to have your rifle with you, like in your truck or in your car or something, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But there's no reason to bring it into McDonald's. You don't need to do that. Bring your pistol.
Like, hey, kids.
Yeah.
Is there something to go with your Happy Meal?
Use it to point at the menu. I want a double cheeseburger and
Let me turn on the laser.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, those dudes, those fucking whatever you want to call them, those guys just drive me. The dude, what was it though?
They just want the attention.
Yeah, don't draw attention to yourselves. The point of open carry, even concealed carry more so. Do not draw attention to yourself. Like it is. I mean, if you need it, it's not there to be a centerpiece of conversation. It's great.
It goes back to the old axiom: treat people how you want to be treated. How do I want to be treated? I want you to treat me like you don't know if I have a gun in my hand or not.
Exactly. Yeah, so I used to work at a grocery store. A perfect example. The store I worked at, very Second Amendment friendly. You could open carry, nobody cared. And I remember I was working one night, I was in the dairy section, and this lady's like, I seen this dude shopping. I noticed that he had a pistol, so I was just kind of training. I'm kind of looking for that kind of thing. But I also noticed he was just buying some freaking eggs. Like, okay, whatever. And this lady comes up to me in a panic, like, do you need to call the police? Oh, what for? Well, he has a gun. So what? Well, is he allowed to? Yes. He's not waving it around. He's not pointing it. He's shopping. He's getting eggs. Leave him alone. Like, Jesus, people. And that's the thing. Like, people are so scared of it, and I'm not sure why. I remember the first gun I bought. I brought it home. My wife never really been around guns, right? So she was kind of iffy about it. I bring it home, and she's nervous. She's kind of scared. So I load the magazine, put it in, and I put a round in the chamber, and I set it on the table. I go, okay, what's it doing? She goes, nothing. I go, and if you don't fuck with it, it will continue to do so.
Exactly.
It will not go off without somebody messing with it. So, yeah. I mean, people are just so ignorant.
Guns really just don't kill people.
Yeah.
Inanimate objects can do nothing without an actor.
Well, I don't know. I did recently have to buy a bigger safe. A few of my firearms were acting up. One of them got out of the house. I had to spank it and put it back away. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't work that way. It's not like my dog.
Fucking grounded AR-15.
Yeah,
go to your room.
It's not going to dig its way under a fence and low crawl across the street and do some shit. It's just going to sit there. It needs an actor. It's a passive object. You can be passive with a firearm. I mean, as opposed to like, driving a vehicle. You were not passive. You were actively driving that vehicle, and harm can come to anybody at any time while you're doing so. Yeah, people with the Second Amendment, man, they just drive me nuts. It's not antiquated. It's just not applied right. And there's so much misinformation about guns out there, and just so much fear-mongering, for lack of a better phrase. There is fear-mongering. And it typically comes from the left. And then you got the ultra-right that just takes it way too damn far. But
I mean, I point this out often on Facebook. There's cognitive dissonance between the right and the left, this mirrored cognitive dissonance, where the left will complain about the tyranny of the government at the same time trying to limit their ability to fight against it, while the right wants to maximize their ability to fight against the tyranny, but then deny any tyranny when it comes to black people.
yes.
Like, how does that work? You're both wrong and right.
Yeah, oh no, I just put something up. So for those of you who don't know, I have a presidential page for 2020. Kind of a spoof, kind of not. But yeah, I just went over Trump's speech. And so he's talking about the way he came off. I mean, I can get behind a lot of the ideas in his speech, but at the same time, it's the way he comes off is so authoritarian. It's like, no, I can't get behind you. I can get behind those ideas, just not you. Like the way you want to implement this. And he never even gave any kind of substance, but just how it sounded. It sounded like
he never gives any substance. He does not know what he's talking about.
No.
At all.
I mean, like I said, the ideas where he's like, I want law and order. I want law and order. I'd like everybody to be peaceful. That's really what I want. I'll do my thing. You do your thing. Let's not interfere with each other's freedoms and liberties here, and we'll be cool. But
and for anybody who thinks that Trump is going to bring Christianity back, you motherfuckers, I would like for one of you to get into an interview with Donald Trump, and I just want you to ask him one question. Recite the Lord's Prayer.
Oh, man.
I'd love to hear Donald Trump recite the Lord's Prayer, because I guarantee you he doesn't know the first fucking word of it. He doesn't know anything about God. He is his own God.
Oh, yeah.
That is the truth. He only cares about himself, and he will tell you whatever the fuck he needs to say to get you to suck his dick. But he don't give a fuck about you or what you believe. He wants to make money.
Mm-hmm. I mean, would I take him over Hillary? I don't know. Flip a coin. They're both shitty. They're both really shitty. I'm all for Gary Johnson. I think I've made that pretty clear to most everybody. But
Gary Johnson all the way, dude.
Oh yeah, I'm all for him. I know some people are going for that Jill Stein lady. I'm not really into socialism. I mean, she's not quite as bad as it. No, she's worse than Bernie. She's far worse. She's way more left than Bernie.
I don't think that we're ready for socialism. It's an idea that came long before it's due. These utopian ideas, they don't match the population that you're trying to apply them to.
No, and every time it's been tried, it's failed miserably. Venezuela, the most shining recent example of it. And I mean, but the problem with it always ends up the same way. You look at Russia, Cuba. It starts out with noble intentions, and then somebody says, "Hey, look at all this power I have." Yeah, I'm not quite giving that up.
You're trying to apply an altruistic idea to a selfish population.
Yes, yes, you are.
That's why it will never fucking work. As long as we need to reach a different stage of evolution where people just generally care about each other.
Right. Yeah.
Then maybe socialism could work. And it's just we're not ready for that. Little things here and there, cool. But we're not ready to go full on fucking communist. We haven't been ready, and that's evident by every fucking society that's tried it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the way Karl Marx laid it out, I don't think humans will ever actually achieve such a thing. I guess.
And Karl Marx is kind of a douchebag. I mean,
yes.
I didn't really read the whole thing. I started reading the Communist Manifesto just to get familiar with it, and I think I got like 2 or 3 chapters in, and I was just like, this fucking guy, man, he
gets pretty violent.
It's douche, just total douche.
For a guy that's sitting there saying, oh, we got this utopian society coming up, but we have to achieve it through violence. Like, no, that's not. Like, we should evolve into a utopian society. If we're ever going to achieve it, we're going to evolve into it. We're not going to procure it through violence. Like, Definitely. It's not going to happen, because once you start violence, you're going to alienate somebody else. They're always going to commit violence against you. And it's just going to be a back and forth, a vicious cycle.
I mean, you watch Star Trek at all? Are you a Star Trek?
Oh,
at all?
Yeah. Obviously. Like old school or the new ones?
The old school.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Next Generation. Let's go with that. Yeah, that's the best one in my opinion.
Picard. Okay, sure.
their society, right? It's pretty much a socialistic society, except for their interactions with other planets, because most of those planets are still very capitalist, like in Deep Space Nine, there's the Ferengi they're straight up capitalists. That's all they give a fuck about is making money. And the thing about the society that human beings created is it only happened after a huge war that wiped out almost all of humanity. And that's the only way that we're ever going to reach some kind of utopian society, I think. And I think we should try to avoid that as long as possible.
Yeah, we should just try to evolve as opposed to just annihilation. But yeah, I mean, as far as the Second Amendment, I mean, like I said, any government that gets too much power, man, they're gonna abuse that power. We've already seen it. Not just with the Hillary Clintons. George Bush is guilty of just as much crap. I mean, you could go all the way back, man. Every president that's ever been in power is just they've always tested the limits of that power and abused it more and more and more and more, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, the thing about Hillary is that I think that under her, shit just really wouldn't change at all. Nothing would really change. I mean, we've been dealing with this bullshit that we've been dealing with for how long now? I mean, will 4 more years of it really kill us? No, but I think Donald Trump, he might kill us.
Yeah, it's possible. Sure. Yeah, I guess that's the other thing, too, is, just trying to stay on the Second Amendment and Hillary and all that. I guess I look at the Democrats, and here's my biggest problem with them, is they always wait for the tragedy to happen and then pounce on it. Where was the gun control talks for Obama's first 2 years when he didn't need one Republican vote? Could have passed every single gun control legislation he wanted. But he knew he didn't have public support. They have to wait for that tragedy to happen. Sandy Hook, Aurora, whatever. They got to wait for it to happen so they can pounce on it and be like, oh, look, we need these laws. I'm a champion of gun control laws. Bullshit, you're lying out your ass. You had 2 years to do it. You didn't do it once. You didn't need one Republican vote, and you didn't do it. So quit trying to feed us this line of shit like you care, because you don't. I mean,
no, they don't.
Yeah, I mean, and to say, and like I said earlier, he's going to come out and try to call Trump's bullshit like, oh, he's fear-mongering. Crime has gone down every year since Reagan. Then why are we talking about gun control in the first place? If crime's going down, what's the problem? If crime has gone down, and there are more guns in the United States now than there have ever been per capita in the history of ever.
Sounds like a correlation to me.
That's what I'm saying, and to me, I actually had the chart of a few months ago. I was talking about this with one of my friends, and I had a chart that actually showed a pretty steady correlation. It's like, come on, man. I mean, am I saying that guns can't be used to commit violent crimes? Absolutely, but if a gun's not available, they'll find something else. The asshole in France just used a fucking truck. I mean, Timothy McVeigh used fertilizer and a truck.
Yeah, you can make a weapon out of anything.
I can go to
anything.
Any soap aisle, any laundry and dish soap aisle at any grocery store in this country and have enough chemicals to take down an entire city block. I don't need a gun. I want a gun.
Don't put us on the NSA watch list, please. FBI, if you're hearing this, no. I don't want to be on that. I like airplanes.
Well, that's another thing. That whole no fly, no buy shit. No fly, no buy. We're gonna do a sit-in. Like, stop your fucking grandstanding, okay? Like, I'm all for the Constitution. You will not strip me of my Fifth Amendment right if I accidentally end up on a no-fly list. Although I actually have a solution to that. And here's the only way I could ever get behind that no fly, no buy, or the terror watch list, no buy. That's fine. If you want to put people on that and restrict their right to restrict their ability to exercise their Second Amendment right, that's fine. You must notify them immediately that they are on that list. And I mean, they need to get that letter like express mail. It better show up in their mailbox the next day. And as soon as they get that, you better have some kind of special court or some shit that they can go visit that day and say, present your evidence against me. Now, if you cannot... Well, hold on, it gets better. Because if the government cannot provide sufficient evidence that they should actually be on a terror watch list or a no-fly list, then that person who had to go down there should be well compensated for their time. Well,
yeah, for sure. I mean,
now if there is sufficient evidence against them to be on those lists, slap the cuffs on them, charge them, let's have a trial.
exactly. That's what I was about to say. Like, if there's sufficient evidence to be watching this guy so hard, then you need to arrest him.
Mm-hmm.
If you have no evidence to arrest him, why are you watching him so hard?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, will they ever go for that? No, because they'll never want to pay out that much money. Because, I mean, God, what was it? There's something like 120,000 people on the no-fly list. And granted, I think it was only like 2,000 of them are actually American citizens. But that's still 2,000 American citizens. They want to strip of not just their Second Amendment right, but their Fifth Amendment right. They're not giving them any due process. Like
it's not worth it. Giving up our liberty, what we have fought and what we have taken so much pride in for so many years, to give that up because a few of us may die is not worth it. We are willing to die. There are thousands of us in the military and in the police force and in the fire department. We're willing to die for what we believe in. We believe in the motherfucking Constitution.
Yeah, and for those vets out there that are sitting there saying, oh, yeah, more gun control, you need to remember something. When you swore that oath, before anything else, you swore that oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. You didn't swear to uphold, the orders of your commander-in-chief before anything else. It was the uphold and defend the Constitution before anything else. And there's a reason for that. It's not by accident. So, and I mean, I heard a gun debate. It was probably the worst debate I've ever heard, and I'm sure that both the people involved in it are absolutely ashamed of themselves. It was Steven Crowder and Christopher Titus, two comedians, right? Go figure.
Right. I love Titus. He's hilarious.
Dude, I love Titus. Titus is funny, but I have an issue with his stance on guns. He's very, I'm not going to say he's anti-Second Amendment, but he's like pro-gun control. And he basically accused Steven Crowder of saying, if you aren't for gun control, then you're okay with 32,000 Americans dying by guns. He did acknowledge that 60% of those are by suicide. So, you're taking it down to 12,000 people now? Okay, look, dude, if you're worried about 12,000 murders per year, if you're going to be just in an outrage and you need gun control over that, why aren't you hammering down for freaking prohibition again? How many people are killed by drunk drivers every year? I mean, why aren't, if 12,000 is your magic number, why aren't you hammering down on, I don't know, man, anything else? Like, people die every year. Like, is it acceptable? No, and I mourn every loss, be it murder. Like, I feel bad. I don't want it to happen.
We're not going to legislate immortality. It's not going to happen. People are going to die for all sorts of random and unnecessary things, and it is sad, and we will mourn them. But liberty, that's what it's all about. It's all it's about. If you don't have give me liberty or give me death.
Well, see, and that's the thing. Like, we always, in the military, we always hear, freedom isn't free. Unfortunately, like now with the gun control debate, the civilian population, they're starting to see that. Freedom is not free. Blood has to be spilled, and sometimes it sucks that it's innocent civilian blood. That's not what we mean by, I'd much rather pay my blood to keep civilians safe and keep their freedoms. But we're doing it to ourselves. I mean, things like that, it just blows my mind. Like, if that's your argument, like, at least keep it consistent. I mean, same thing with, people on the right, too, assign, gun-free zones. They're not going to stop a bad guy with a gun. Yeah, but you want to sign on a bathroom. Like, come on now. Yeah. Like, just keep the shit consistent. That's all anybody's asking for here.
That's asking for a lot, evidently.
I guess it is. I mean, yeah, they're confusing me on that one. So, but yeah, I mean, for anybody out there who says the Second Amendment's not relevant, like, you're fooling yourself. It absolutely is. If you don't like it, there's a process to go, to change it. Quit trying to circumvent the Constitution. That's what's pissing me off about our government anymore. Is people on both sides, they want to circumvent the Constitution. Don't do that. The process to change it is in there. If you don't have the public support, then you don't have it. Like, sorry. But you can try. What's the worst? It's funny. We always grow up like, oh, ask that girl out, dude. What's the worst she could say? No. Okay. There you go. What's the worst we say? No.
Exactly. I mean, it is still the will of the people.
Yeah.
And as long as that is the case, I mean, what kind of society do you want to live in?
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you talk about, wanting to give the power back to the people. Like, what better way to do it than go to a constitutional convention? I mean, they have no choice. Your representatives have no choice but to go to their constituents at that point and go, what the hell do you want me to do?
And that's really all they ever should do.
Yeah, I mean, on a lot of things that are going to just affect everybody, like Obamacare really should have gone, and it doesn't have to be a constitutional convention, but more people should actually just get involved too. Write your congressmen, write your senators. Like, get involved, call them, email them, something, tweet them. I mean, I even tweeted at POTUS about the whole, you're going to say crime went down, why are you bitching about gun control? Like,
oh, yeah.
You got to get involved. Directly to President Obama. I tweeted it right to him. Is he going to read it? Probably not. He probably gets 5 million tweets a day. So it's, But
that is a beautiful thing about social media.
Oh, yeah, it could be super beautiful. I mean, it could be super super evil, too, but, you got to take the good with the bad. The only way to, I guess bringing the whole podcast here full circle, talking about, we were kind of talking about free speech earlier a little bit. The only way to counter hate speech is with more speech. It's the only way you can do it. You can't legislate hate out of existence. It's always going to be there. And I'd rather have that idea, somebody's hate right up in front of me where I can see it rather than, underground where I have no idea where it is.
Yeah, there's this YouTuber, Milo Yiannopoulos. Have you heard of this little controversy?
God, I love Nero, dude. Come on. I love Milo. I don't. It's the alt-right. I love him because he really just doesn't give a shit, and that's what I like. I mean, I don't always agree with him, but yeah, dude, I love Milo. Yeah, I seen he got banned from Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, I think that's a travesty. It really is.
But yeah, but on the flip side, they are a private company. They can do as they please, but they need to be consistent with it. I mean, you do have. I really do. I want to pull for Black Lives Matter. Part of me says you can turn it around. You can spread a good message. But you got some people out there saying it's time to lynch cops, but they're still on Twitter. They didn't get banned. There's just no consistency with the policy. That's my issue with it. Yeah,
there's no consistency. ISIS has Twitter accounts.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, rights. The right with the signs on the walls. Yeah, just throw some consistency. Please be consistent with your arguments.
There's a debate to be had about the private rights of a company that facilitates the First Amendment as social media does. It really is the new face of free speech, or lack thereof.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, the funny thing is I was reading through Facebook's terms of agreement, one of the user agreement. And it says, you can be kicked off for hate speech. But right below it, it says, but we won't violate any laws. Well, the Constitution is the law of the land. There's no such thing as hate speech. Because what's hateful to one might not be hateful to another. Like, it's all relative. Morality is relative. It's all relative to the individual. And people just really, I mean, if you don't like what somebody's saying, turn it off. There's no reason to ban them. Don't follow them. Don't listen to them. Block them from your account.
Yeah, and if enough people agree with you, they won't have an audience to hear it.
Exactly. Then they're just talking to a damn wall, but they're still talking. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's no reason.
People just want to live in their little echo chambers and just hear their own opinions read back to them. I hate that.
Oh, yeah. And
it's one of the reasons why you and me are friends, is because you don't just agree with me on every little fucking thing, and I don't just agree with you.
Yeah, well, I remember that one argument. I mean, it started out me and you debating just religion in general, and I think your brother came in.
Oh, my God.
Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was like, well, hold on there, guy. You're coming in from a totally different angle, and me and you both kind of teamed up like, oh, no, you're wrong here, and this. But in the end, we all agreed to just disagree, or we agreed on some points, we disagreed on others, but at the same time, like, nobody was hurt.
The whole concept of religion is antithetical to liberty.
Oh, yeah, I agree. It was a means of control. It was absolutely a means of control.
I mean, it couldn't be clearer. I mean, it's opposite of freedom. You want to be enthralled in this supernatural being's grace, and you live and die by their word. You have no autonomy.
Yeah, you're willing
because they know all. and are all.
Yeah, you definitely become willingly subservient to their words, so you actually lose your freedom. But another topic for another day.
Yeah. I just love talking about it.
Oh yeah, no, we could, dude. Let's wait till Christmas time and Hanukkah for that one.
Oh.
Come on, that'll be
Halloween
fun.
special.
Yeah, special. Oh man, that'll be.
Yeah, I think we should start wrapping it up here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before I lose power again. If you notice in this podcast that there will be some cuts, that is because the weather has taken a turn for the worse here down in San Antonio. There's a big thunderstorm going on. I lost power for a little while, so you'll notice that. But we should wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And to the rest of the audience, I mean, it may seem like we've gone off on tangents and whatnot. Bear with us. It's our first show, so we'll smooth out the edges and whatnot, and comments and everything is already is totally appreciated. So
Definitely.
Definitely get involved with us and speak your mind to us. We're not going to hold grudges against anybody. So.
Unless it's hate speech.
Keep your hate speech.
Fucking hate speech.
Keep your hate speech.
I declare myself the arbiter of all speech.
Deal.
And from now on, all people will refer to my judgment in regards to what it constitutes a hateful speech.
Yes. That's hate speech, Kaz. That's hate speech.
That is hate speech. All right, man. Well, good night, everybody, and thank you for listening. And please like and subscribe and share if you enjoy it. And we will see you next time.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time. Guys, take care.
Bye.